Have you ever noticed something very interesting? Every morning, before the world challenges us, before people test us, before situations confuse us, we fight our first battle. The alarm rings. One voice says, "Wake up." Another voice says, "5 more minutes." And that moment decides more about our life than we realize. Because the greatest battle of life is not you vs the world, it is you vs yourself. Every morning, before the world asks anything from us, before responsibilities begin and expectations knock on our door, a silent conversation happens within. One voice gently reminds us of our goals, our values, the life we want to build. Another voice, much louder and more comfortable, says, "Not now. Later." That small moment may seem insignificant, but it quietly decides the direction of our entire day. And days, when repeated, decide a life. We often believe our struggles come from outside. We think people are difficult, situations are unfair, and life is moving too fast. But if we pause and look honestly, we will realize that most of our battles are not with the world. They are with our own habits, our emotions, and our mindset. The world only responds to who we choose to become. We live in a time where comparison has become normal. We constantly measure our progress by looking at someone else's success. Someone is earning more, someone is growing faster, someone seems happier. But comparison is a dangerous distraction. It pulls our attention away from the only comparison that truly matters: who we were yesterday and who we are becoming today. Growth does not begin when we beat others, it begins when we improve ourselves. Inside each of us, there are silent obstacles that hold us back. Ego tells us we are always right and stops us from learning. Fear keeps asking, "What will people think?" and prevents us from taking brave steps. Comfort convinces us that staying the same is safer than changing. These forces do not attack us suddenly. They slowly weaken our discipline, our courage, and our commitment until we forget our true potential. Life does not demand perfection from us. It asks for sincerity. It asks for small, consistent effort. Real transformation does not happen through big promises or sudden motivation. It happens when we choose to do the right thing even when it feels difficult. Waking up on time, controlling our reactions, staying honest with ourselves, and showing kindness even when it is inconvenient. These choices may look small, but they shape our character. When we learn to observe our mind instead of blindly following it, something beautiful happens. We gain clarity. We stop reacting and start responding. We understand that emotions are temporary, but decisions have lasting consequences. Self-control becomes self-respect, and discipline becomes freedom rather than pressure. The quality of our future depends on the quality of our daily choices. What we repeat becomes who we are. A calm mind creates a calm life. A focused mind creates meaningful progress. When we take responsibility for our inner world, the outer world slowly starts falling into place. You don't need to fight everyone. You don't need to prove your worth to the world. The only victory that truly matters is becoming better than the person you were yesterday. When you win that inner battle, life feels lighter, clearer, and more purposeful. And in that quiet victory over yourself, you discover the strength you were searching for all along. Most people spend their lives preparing for battles that do not truly matter. They try to impress others, compete with strangers, and prove their worth to the world. In this process, they slowly forget the most important responsibility they have: taking care of their own inner state. Life is not asking us to become better than everyone else. It is asking us to become better than who we were yesterday. Every day presents us with two clear choices. One choice comes from awareness, discipline, and long-term vision. The other comes from comfort, habit, and short-term pleasure. The interesting thing is that both choices feel normal. The difference lies in their results. One choice builds a strong future quietly, while the other creates regret silently. What we repeatedly choose becomes our identity. We often say we want change, but deep inside, we resist the discomfort that comes with growth. We want better results without better habits. We want peace without self-control. We want success without consistency. Life, however, works on simple principles. Whatever we nurture within ourselves grows. If we nurture excuses, they grow stronger. If we nurture discipline, confidence slowly begins to develop. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also become a powerful obstacle. When left unmanaged, it constantly pulls us into the past through regret or into the future through anxiety. Rarely does it allow us to stay present. Learning to observe the mind rather than obey it is one of the greatest skills we can develop. Awareness gives us space, and in that space, we gain the freedom to choose wisely. Many people think freedom means doing whatever they want. In reality, true freedom comes from self-mastery. When we can control our reactions, our desires, and our impulses, we stop becoming victims of circumstances. We begin to act with intention. Life stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling meaningful. Growth does not require dramatic changes. It requires honest reflection. Asking yourself simple questions like, where am I wasting energy? And what small improvement can I make today? These questions bring clarity. Small, honest improvements repeated daily create powerful transformation over time. Sometimes we wait for motivation to act, but motivation is unreliable. Discipline is far more dependable. Discipline shows up even when emotions fluctuate. It protects us from our own inconsistency. With discipline, even ordinary actions start producing extraordinary results. At some point, we must stop blaming time, luck, or people. Responsibility is not a burden, it is empowerment. The moment we accept that our life is shaped by our choices, we reclaim our power. We stop complaining and start creating. When you focus on improving your inner world, the outer world responds naturally. Your relationships become calmer, your decisions become clearer, and your confidence becomes quieter yet stronger. Winning over yourself may not bring immediate applause, but it brings lasting peace. And that peace is priceless. It comes from knowing that you are trying, learning, and growing sincerely. When you commit to that inner journey, life no longer feels like a constant struggle. It becomes a process of steady progress guided by awareness, discipline, and self-respect. Life becomes much simpler the day we understand one basic truth: we cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can always control how we respond. Most of our stress does not come from situations themselves, but from the way we allow our mind to react to them. The moment we learn to take responsibility for our inner world, half of our problems begin to dissolve. We often wait for external conditions to improve before we feel motivated or peaceful. We think that once people change, once circumstances become favorable, once life becomes easier, then we will be happy. But life rarely works that way. Peace does not come from a perfect situation. It comes from a stable mindset. When the mind is calm and clear, even difficult phases become manageable. Every day, we are faced with moments that test our awareness. Someone says something hurtful, a plan fails, or expectations are not met. In these moments, we have a choice. We can react emotionally and lose control, or we can pause, reflect, and respond wisely. This pause is powerful. It separates a life driven by impulse from a life guided by understanding. One of the biggest reasons people feel stuck is because they underestimate the power of small habits. They look for big breakthroughs and instant transformation, while ignoring the simple actions that shape character. The way we start our morning, the way we speak to others, the way we handle frustration, and the way we use our time all matter more than we realize. Consistency in small things builds strength quietly. Our mind often tricks us into believing that comfort is happiness. It encourages us to avoid effort, discipline, and discomfort. But comfort only gives temporary relief. Real fulfillment comes from growth. When we challenge ourselves gently but consistently, confidence begins to grow naturally. We start trusting ourselves more because we keep our own promises. Self-awareness is not about criticizing ourselves. It is about observing honestly without judgment. When we understand our patterns, our triggers, and our weaknesses, we gain the power to improve them. Ignoring our inner struggles does not make them disappear. Facing them with patience and sincerity helps us evolve. There will be days when progress feels slow and effort feels heavy. On such days, it is important to remember that growth is not always visible. Just like a seed grows silently beneath the soil before it emerges, inner growth often happens quietly. Trusting the process is part of the journey. True strength is not loud. It does not need validation or applause. It shows itself in calm reactions, disciplined routines, and steady values. When we focus on becoming better internally, our actions become more meaningful externally. Relationships improve, clarity increases, and decisions become aligned with purpose. Life is not asking us to be extraordinary overnight. It is asking us to be sincere, consistent, and conscious. Each day gives us an opportunity to improve a little, understand ourselves better, and let go of what no longer serves us. When we take this inner journey seriously, life begins to feel less like a battle and more like a learning process. And in that process, we discover a deeper sense of peace and direction that no external achievement can replace. There comes a moment in life when we realize that running away from ourselves is far more exhausting than facing the truth. We keep ourselves busy, distracted, and occupied, hoping that silence will not force us to listen to our own thoughts. But the moment we slow down, the mind starts speaking. And what it says often determines the direction of our life. Most people are not tired because they are doing too much. They are tired because they are thinking too much. Overthinking drains more energy than hard work. The mind keeps replaying the past or worrying about the future, rarely allowing us to stay present. Learning to anchor ourselves in the present moment is one of the greatest skills we can develop. When we are present, clarity replaces confusion. We often believe that happiness lies somewhere outside us. We think it is hidden in achievements, approval, or possessions. While these things may give temporary satisfaction, they cannot provide lasting peace. Peace comes when our actions are aligned with our values. When what we think, say, and do are in harmony, life starts feeling lighter. One of the biggest challenges we face is managing our emotions. Emotions themselves are not the problem. The problem is letting them control our behavior. Anger spoken at the wrong moment can damage relationships. Fear left unaddressed can limit growth. Learning to pause before reacting gives us the power to choose maturity over impulse. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction. In reality, discipline is protection. It protects our time, energy, and focus. When we develop simple routines and healthy boundaries, we reduce unnecessary chaos. Discipline creates space for creativity, peace, and meaningful progress. We also need to understand that progress is not linear. Some days we feel strong, focused, and confident. Other days we feel distracted and unsure. This is normal. The key is not to judge ourselves harshly on difficult days. Self-compassion is as important as self-discipline. Growth requires both patience and effort. Life teaches us lessons in subtle ways. Every challenge carries a message. Every setback invites reflection. When we stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" our perspective shifts. Problems turn into opportunities for inner development. True success is not about controlling others or winning arguments. It is about mastering our own reactions and staying grounded in our values. When we focus on improving our inner state, outer success follows naturally. People feel safe around calm energy. Trust grows around consistency and integrity. At the end of the day, the most important relationship we have is with ourselves. If that relationship is based on honesty, awareness, and kindness, life becomes more balanced. When we stop fighting ourselves and start understanding ourselves, the journey becomes smoother. Life does not demand perfection. It asks for sincerity. Each day offers a chance to grow a little wiser, a little calmer, and a little stronger. When we commit to that inner growth, we realize that the real victory in life is not over circumstances, but over our own mind and habits. At some point in life, we all realize that the loudest voice we hear every day is not from the outside world, but from within. This inner voice can either guide us gently or confuse us completely. When we are not aware of it, it starts controlling our actions, emotions, and decisions. But the moment we learn to listen with awareness, it becomes a powerful guide rather than an obstacle. Many people believe that confidence comes from achievements and appreciation. In reality, true confidence is built when we keep promises to ourselves. Each time we choose discipline over comfort, honesty over excuses, and patience over reaction, self-trust begins to grow, and self-trust is the foundation of inner strength. We often underestimate how much our daily routines shape our mindset. The way we start our morning, the content we consume, and the people we surround ourselves with influence our thoughts more than we realize. When we are careless with these choices, our mind becomes cluttered. When we are intentional, our mind becomes calmer and clearer. One of the most important lessons life teaches us is that emotions are temporary, but decisions can be permanent. Acting while angry, fearful, or frustrated often leads to regret. Learning to pause, breathe, and reflect gives us control over our responses. This pause may last only a few seconds, but it can save us from long-term consequences. Growth requires courage, and courage often feels uncomfortable. Stepping out of familiar patterns, facing our weaknesses, and accepting responsibility are not easy. But avoiding discomfort only delays growth. When we gently challenge ourselves, we discover strengths we didn't know we had. It is also important to understand that everyone moves at their own pace. Comparing our journey with others creates unnecessary pressure and dissatisfaction. Life is not a race, it is a process. Progress should be measured by inner peace, clarity, and consistency rather than speed. Mistakes are an inevitable part of growth. Instead of criticizing ourselves harshly, we should learn from them with humility. Self-awareness is not about guilt, it is about understanding. When we replace self-judgment with self-reflection, learning becomes easier and progress becomes sustainable. A balanced life is not one without challenges, but one with emotional stability. When our mind is trained to stay calm during uncertainty, we make better decisions. Calmness does not mean lack of ambition, it means clarity of purpose. With clarity, even small efforts move us in the right direction. In the end, the quality of our life depends on the quality of our inner dialogue. If we constantly criticize ourselves, life feels heavy. If we guide ourselves with patience and honesty, life feels manageable. The journey of self-improvement is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming the best version of who we already are. When we commit to understanding and improving ourselves daily, life stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes a meaningful journey of awareness, growth, and quiet confidence. And in that journey, we realize that the most important victory is the one we achieve within. Let me leave you with one simple thought. You don't need to defeat everyone. You don't need to prove anything to the world. Just make sure that, when you look into the mirror tomorrow, you see someone a little more disciplined, a little more aware, a little more kind than yesterday. Because the day you win against yourself, life stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a journey. And that is why you versus yourself is the only battle that truly matters.